Hello, spooky friends, and welcome to another episode of Storytime with the Scaryish podcast.
Woo!
I'm Robin Grace. This is Adam Diaz, and
she's pausing for no reason on the intro.
Because you're clearing out your throat.
I wooed. I had to clear my throat. It's a common thing. I apologize.
And this is our Storytime episodes, and we're here to read you homegrown horrors. Adam, tell us what those are.
A homegrown horror is a story that you have sent us, and we appreciate that, by the way. And it's something that's paranormal, spooky, spiritual, sometimes coincidental, sometimes true crime that has happened to you, a friend, a family member, maybe a loved one, and you want to share that story with us or with the world. So let us know if you have a story like that by emailing storytime@scaryish.com. You can also go to facebook.com/scaryishpodcast and email or message us that way, or any of our various social medias. You can find them all at scaryish.com. You can also go to the website scaryish.com and click on Contact Us. Let us know if you would like us to share your story. If you have not let us know, we will most likely err on the side of caution. And if you do not want us to share your story, let us know, because we'll know that you're sending us something you'd like us to read right away and get back to you. So, yeah, that is what a homegrown horror is. So, I think I took both of them. We typically split that up, but that's okay. So, we have 4 that we're going to be reading tonight. 2 mediums, 1 short, 1 long. And I'm not sure who's going to be going first. So, Robin, is it you or is it me?
You can go first.
Okay, I will go first then. So, the first homegrown horror we have subject is my third homegrown horror. So pretty good. Glad to see we're getting follow-up. And it starts out like this. Hi, Robin and Adam.
Hello.
You can read this on the podcast if you want to. See, they followed amazing instructions and just decided to lead out with letting us know that we can go ahead and read, which is amazing. It goes on to say, my name is Abby. This is my third homegrown horror email. The last story I sent you, I don't know how and why I sent it. I just could not sleep that morning and started reminiscing my younger days. My mind wasn't on a right side. It just happened, and when you read it on the live stream, I was cringing my whole life. With that out of the way, this is how my story goes. At around March 2015, my mother was hospitalized because of a motorcycle accident. That's super sad. My mother, for now has retired, has been riding a motorcycle to her work for 20 plus years, and this was her worst accident.
Yikes.
Yeah, that's really scary. That day, my mother had an overtime hour. She's usually already on her way home around 12 p.m. and arrived at 1 a.m., and I always wait for her to come home. It was already 3 a.m., but she hadn't arrived yet. I don't have any negative thoughts about it. So you're assuming positive things about it? I think that's a good place to have your mind.
Yeah.
But then around 4 a.m., I got a call from a taxi driver that my mom just had an accident. I won't give you the details about her injury, but all I can say is she's really, really, really lucky that she survived.
Wow.
After being taken to the hospital, the doctor said that she needed surgery, so all of the family agreed. Sorry for the long backstory, but here's the paranormal stuff. When the surgery day arrived, I helped the nurse bring my mom to the surgical building. And this is what my mom said after she was out of the hospital. On my way to the surgical building, I saw 2 guys riding a scooter. The way to the surgical building is by walking an open hallway. When I entered the surgery room, I saw your dad pushing my cart. My dad passed away in 2012, and I thought it was you, so I didn't think much about it. Thank God the surgery was a success, and she's alive right now. Sorry for the long story on my broken English. Congrats for 2 years anniversary. I've just been a fan since last year, but I really think that your podcast is a breath of fresh air. Thank you so much for creating this podcast. Keep on creeping on, and I'll wait around for your 1,000th episode celebration. Smiley face.
That's cute.
Thank you so much for sending that in, Abby. We appreciate that. We're glad to hear that your mom is okay.
Yeah.
Even though motorcycle accidents are quite scary. My brother got into a motorcycle accident when he was younger as well, so it is definitely something that you're always a little bit worried about if you're either riding one or know someone who's riding a motorcycle. So it's really crazy when you see someone prior to your surgery that has been passed away for so long, but perhaps it was drug-induced, because I know right before they wheel you in, they have you doped up on some stuff, so maybe that was the case, or maybe it was a guardian angel, like, looking out for her.
So, this next email is titled, You Can Read This...
Just take it over again.
This next email is titled, You Can Read This on the Pod.
Awesome.
Which is solid.
Solid subject. Again.
It goes, Hey, Adam and Robin. Hello.
Hello.
That's us. I've been listening to you guys since episode 10. What? That's crazy. That's like super early episodes. And y'all have been super awesome. For the most part, I have been one of your ghost listeners, but now I have a story I'd like to share with you. When I was about 4 or 5, I remember being in the bathroom, and right when I was about to walk out, I decided to turn the light off before I even opened the door.
Bad move. I never do that when I was a kid.
I do that when I'm coming in from the garage now.
You turn off the light.
I turn off the light before I open the door, and sometimes I think, like, what if this door doesn't fucking open? What if I'm stuck out here? Or what if the door is locked and I can't get back in? Or what if something yanks me back or something? I just freak myself out in the dark.
If you ever get stuck in the dark in a situation like that, just say out loud, "You merely adopted the darkness. I was born in it."
It'll intimidate them.
Molded by it. And they'll freak out because they don't want their back broken. Just saying.
It was totally dark, and I grabbed the doorknob. Somehow, it was locked, even though I kept trying to unlock it. I was banging on the door, freaking out, and then I turned around and saw an outline of a bull running at me. What was strange, besides the bull, was the fact that the outline was a spectrum of color, like a rainbow, and it kept charging at me, and after lots of screaming, my mother just opened the door, and immediately everything was back to normal. I hugged her, and even though I was so young, I could tell she was confused. Well, that's my story. Hope y'all liked it. Looking back at it, there was probably nothing real about it, and I probably just had an overactive imagination. What was real, though, was the fear. Hope this reaches you in good spirits, Zane. Thank you so much for sharing your story.
Yeah.
As a kid, I think one thing could be kids just have
overactive imagination.
They do have imaginations. They have overactive imaginations, but they could also have like an easier time at seeing things they shouldn't be seeing.
They don't doubt things as much.
Yeah, you know.
They haven't closed their third eye
It's like
yet.
when animals see ghosts. Okay.
Or sense things like that.
Things, you know.
I think if anyone saw a bull charging them in a bathroom that was colored like a myriad of rainbows, it would be pretty terrifying, if not also majestically beautiful.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wouldn't want to be locked in a bathroom in the middle of the darkness with
I don't want to
bull
be
either.
I don't want to be locked in a bathroom, period.
Yeah.
Like, that's just not fun times.
No, and sometimes you just don't want to be locked in anywhere at all.
Yeah.
Definitely not in the dark. I say sometimes, I mean all the time. I don't want to be locked up somewhere I don't want to be.
I would get claustrophobic getting locked in a bathroom.
I would be claustrophobic like immediately.
Well, and then the lights are off too, so it's just like even worse.
It's like if the lock broke within 10 seconds, I'm punching holes in the wall to breathe. That's how freaked out I get with that. So I think you handled it pretty well, especially for a 4 or 5-year-old. So shout out to you. So I'm going to move on to my second email of the show, the third overall, and the second to last, my final. Hopefully that's enough statistics for you so I can read this fucking thing. This one's subject is, "This can be read on the podcast." That's like 3 for 3. You guys are fucking crushing
nice.
it. And it starts out...
Hashtag Krillin' it.
Hashtag... I like how you make references to things that you do not on the show that no one will understand.
But you understand.
I do understand, but everyone else is like, what the fuck is she talking about? So Robin, in a group chat that we were in, put hashtag killing it to someone who's killing it. By the way, that's Ralph, because he's doing some like cosplay design stuff now.
Yeah, he's starting to,
and he's
to make
really
cosplay props.
good at it.
Yeah, he made, that crow guy from My Hero Academia. I forget what his name is, and I drew him too. That's the most annoying part. But he made the whole mask, and he made it so like the jaw moves when he talks. It's freaking sweet.
Shout out to Dim Sunny, who just donated 100 bits. Said, I just
so
want to see
much.
the health bar go down. And they did. 200 HP was just drained off of Mondo Alba. 996 remains. That's $5, folks.
Yeah, our friend Ralph is doing a whole bunch of cosplay stuff.
It's very talented.
He's super talented. And so I was just like, hashtag killing it. And then I was like, oh my God, Krillin. So I
put hashtag
and
Krillin
put like
it.
a gif of Krillin in there. I just love Krillin, and I love characters like him and Chaozu. Adam hates it so much.
I don't hate Krillin. Chaozu creeps me the fuck out because he's a tiny little clown.
He's cute.
He literally is a clown if it was shrunk down, which rhymes, but it's scary shit. I like that we got through the fucking subject on this email before we completely derailed. Just saying. Jessie has joined us, which is amazing. Thank you for joining us,
Thank
Jessie.
you so
Over
much.
in YouTube, she's in my chat. What's up? All right, now I'm actually going to read this email. It says, "Hi, my name's Alexander from Norway." What up, Alexander from Norway?
What up?
Just so you know, I'm picturing you as Alexander Skarsgård, and I am immediately turned on right now.
Oh my God. Keep it in your pants.
I apologize about my English grammar in advance. It's not my first language, but I trust that it's readable. Smiley face. You're doing so well so far. My girlfriend showed me your podcast. Shout out to your girlfriend. And since then, we listen to it as often as we can before bed. Why would you do that to yourself? I hope you will find my story as interesting and scary as I have a story that has bothered me for years. If you have an answer to it, please let me know. Anyways, here it is. All right, so everyone listen to this as if we were responding to Alexander to let him know what happened here, because I'm really intrigued right now and I want to know what happened. It all started with the earliest memory I have when I was very little. We lived in an old house. My parents had just purchased it and started decorating and fixing it. One night, I had trouble sleeping, so my mom laid down with me till I fell asleep.
This is Haunting at Hill House.
I know, it's the first place my head went to. My mom fell asleep with me also that night. In the middle of the night, I had a nightmare about someone tickling my mom's foot. I immediately woke up and realized very quickly that my foot was still getting tickled.
No fucking way. And there was no one there.
I looked down and saw a dark hand holding around my foot. Scared out of my mind, I pulled my foot up as quickly as I could and hid under my covers and laid there in shock.
That'll protect you.
Awake for the rest of the night. Blankets are impenetrable barriers
really are.
that monsters cannot get through. We all know this. A few years later, I started having these nightmares. They'd start out with me being outside the house approximately at 4 or 5 in the morning, being tickled out of my mind. Somehow I get free and start running down the street of my neighborhood. When I've run to the bottom of the street, I look behind me and see a very blurry and dark figure chasing me. I was about 2 meters tall and it was about 2 meters tall, so around 6 feet, and wearing a bowler hat. Of course it's wearing a bowler hat, the hat of demons and ghosts. I kept running, knocking on every house on my way, but no one ever answered. The figure was closing in on me due to me spending time looking for help, and when I got to the last house of the neighborhood, I knocked on the door and still no answer. I turned around to make my way back, and he was right there, 10 feet behind me. Panicking, I ran off to a shortcut leading back home to my house. When I finally reached my house, I could see our front door was open and the lights were on, and my mom was vacuuming the floor.
What?
I screamed for help at the top of my lungs and no reaction. I ran in and could see a tilted chair lying on the floor. I hide behind it, facing the door, and he's there, walking inside. My mom says, "Here he is," and he grabs me and tickles me to death, and then I would wake up.
That's such a weird
Holy
dream.
shit. I never thought tickles could be this frightening.
Tentacles.
When I wake, which is weird because we made the tentacles joke earlier, like literally earlier today. So when I wake up, I'm out of breath and could feel everything that happened in the dream. I had this dream every night for 6 years. The most scary thing about this is that I knew that I was dreaming, but I couldn't move differently or do anything that was supposed to happen, that wasn't supposed to happen in that dream. I will say, if you were being violently tickled and assaulted, maybe it led to just amazing six-pack abs, because usually that just really works out your core. So hopefully that happened. It was a side effect of your night terrors for 6 years.
It's funny because I was just talking to you about the whole abs hurting thing the other day, because I was, for some reason, somehow how I sit driving hurts my abs. So by the time I get home, my abs hurt. I don't know why. It's some way I sit in my car. I don't know. It's really strange. I probably am doing something wrong, but
it sounds like you're doing something wrong.
But it just makes me laugh because we talk about all these things and they somehow
wind up coming up.
Yeah.
It is weird. The email finishes out with, "I had a tall bed with a ladder and open room under it, and every night before I fell asleep, I would feel a presence under my bed. After I had this dream tormenting me for years, I told my 2-year younger brother. He was shocked because he's had the exact same dream as me for all of those years. Anyways, when I turned 12 years old, we moved away from that house and moved into a new house, and since then, I have never had that dream. Thank you for reading my story. This is the first time I've shared this with anyone but my brother."
Nice.
Thank
you.
It's terrifying when people have the same boogeyman and you did not realize it until you share it with someone else.
Yeah. It's probably just Haunter licking your feet.
I hate you
using Dream
so
Eater.
Much. I did not see this going in the Pokemon way, but that's apparently where we went. So Robin's diagnosis is Haunter, which I feel is just very disrespectful.
I love him.
It's clearly Gengar.
Gengar's, but Gengar's just, it's creepier thinking it's Gengar because Gengar has arms and legs. It's like a person doing stuff.
Well, I mean, something has to tickle your feet if this is happening, but realistically, having having a recurring nightmare for 6 years has got to be like torture at that point. Every night when you're going to sleep. I know I had a recurring nightmare for like 3 years, and it was awful. And I still remember every moment of it vividly, including the time it stopped. So I can only imagine that you're in the same boat as me with that. And that sucks. And thank you so much for sharing it with us, because it's definitely difficult to share something that you've only shared with one person before, and now you've shared it with literally tens of thousands of people.
The idea of like recurring dreams, it freaks me out because it's like I hardly ever have the same dream multiple times. Maybe every once in a while it'll be in the same place, but it's never the same dream. And the fact that your brain is like, you want to see this again? We're going to play it on repeat.
Yeah.
It's just
you're getting
strange.
reruns the next 6 years.
Yeah.
The brain's taking the time off.
So it's pretty interesting. I don't know. It's something that I'm sure there's a doctor out there who researches it or something. That'd be really cool.
I've had the same dream for like 7 years. I wake up next to it every day. She's not impressed by my bullshit anymore, like literally at all. So thank you so much one more time, Alexander, for sending that in. And before we move on, we're going to take a quick commercial break. And we're back.
So we have one more email for the night, and then after that, we're going to go into marbles. It's going to be a great time, free opportunity to win some stickers. I just mailed out all our Patreon stickers, so that's fun stuff. So yeah, stick around for marbles. It's right after this. All right, so this next email is from Ashley, and the subject is "Light in the Attic?" ?
Interesting.
If you guys are listening to the podcast version of this, you guys should join us for the live streams, because during the live stream, we had this whole talk about semantics and things like that. And
we talked, well, I mean, it's not exactly semantics, but
or not semantics, but like how to pronounce things.
We talked about the different ways to pronounce things, or the different the various ways you can say things like gym shoes or sneakers or tennis shoes for like 35 minutes.
Yeah, and attic is one of those things where it's like attic or addict. I don't know. It's just
That's
funny.
A little bit different than what we're talking
about.
Yeah.
So join us for live streams or check out the video on YouTube and and just join the conversation. Okay, so the story begins like this. Obviously, it says you can share it on the podcast. We're going to share it on the podcast.
I'm glad that's obvious.
So, hi, Adam, Robin, and Scary Mom.
Hello.
Hello.
And she yells hello from downstairs.
I hope you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Holy crap, this is that long ago.
We're catching up, folks.
Oh, shit. My name is Jade. My sisters and I love the podcast and your awesome banter and tangents. Thank you. Oh, we had so many tonight.
I'm also wearing a hat. You can't tell because you're listening.
So go check it out on YouTube. It's on YouTube. So we've been listening since the beginning, but take breaks from time to time. And I totally understand that, because sometimes you just want stuff to binge on.
You save them up. I totally get it.
I usually am on the quiet end of the listeners' demographics, but lately I've shared more via DMs. I have a rule about only listening to the podcast away from home, partially because I don't want any spooky and unwelcome energies to enter my home, because they have before via vivid dreams and so on, and partially because it helps make the work days or long drives better. Nice. My sister says I can fix this rule through a loophole. She means placing my phone inside a rosary before pressing play to trap the energies from attaching. But still, I don't want to risk it.
That's a really weird loophole. Just saying. Like, I've heard of the whole, cut a hole in a sheet to keep your virginity thing. Have you ever heard of that?
I mean, they do that in that one show on Hulu.
Upright Citizens Brigade? That's where I first saw it.
It's the one about the Blessed Be the Fruit stuff. What is it?
I know what you're talking about, but I don't remember the name of it. God. I'm pretty sure that show is just called Blessed Be the Fruit.
The Handmaid's Tale. The Handmaid's Tale.
Get them to the Greek.
Oh God, but they do that in
the hole in the sheet, because you're just penetrating the sheet. You're not penetrating whatever's behind it. It's like, oops, I fell in. So that just seems like the podcast.
This is just taking a strange turn. Anyway, so
whatever works though, man. I don't judge.
Fuck. I am also the same person who messaged asking about if you would ever consider making Scaryish nightlights.
I love that idea.
It'd be really cute. It's just such an expensive investment, and maybe one day.
We've considered it. One day we'd be happy to, if we have the money.
I am trying to design a blanket that is like a demon shield, like a blanket that you can just sleep with or whatever, that says some type of shield thing on it That would be really, really
We're
cute.
obviously in the pre-alpha stages on this design, but we have
still
the
working on it. But yeah, so that's what I want to make. Anyway, so the podcast has made me Team Nightlight, especially after the Black Eyed Children's episode.
Everyone got fucked up by that episode. Listen to the newest one. We're getting a lot of feedback that it was scary.
Anyway, on to the story. My family and I moved into my current house when I was 10, and it was previously owned by some of our distant family members who had lost their son in a car accident.
Oh, that's super sad.
I am in my early 20s and never had a real scary incident in this house. The scary stuff that typically bothered my siblings and not me ended when we moved out of the last house before this one. So this house was and still is good. Kinda. It was blessed years ago, but may have to be blessed again. In the early months of 2019, we lost my abuelito and Labrador in the same month.
Wow.
That sucks.
That's a lot.
The house had been pretty quiet and has had its moments of sadness, mainly for my grandma, who later in the summer was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. That also sucks. That's a lot of stuff to happen in 1 year.
That's really rough.
The months have been tough for my family, especially for birthdays and holidays like Dia de los Muertos, but I know my grandpa would want us to be happy, so we're trying. My abuelito loved to learn and read books. He had so many books that our pantry room became a library. That is a lot of books.
It's amazing.
This pantry has 2 lights, one for the pantry itself and one to light the attic right above it. All right. Why am I reading the attic one? The attic has 2 entries.
Because it's not a basement, and I figured you'd be okay with it.
Nope. The attic has 2 entries. Though
the basement of the ceiling,
exactly.
as the attics are known.
It's just where the other demons hide. So the attic has 2 entries, through the pantry room or the hallway between mine and my sister's room. The only way to enter is to get a ladder, which we store in the garage. The only way to turn on the attic light is to enter the pantry room and turn on the switch, or be up in the attic and turn the light on up there. When I was a kid, I would sleep with my door open, and at times I would wake to the light being on. When I read the sentence, I would sleep with, all I could hear in my head was one eye open.
I totally heard the same thing.
I am a pretty stubborn person and enjoy my sleep. So much so that I once woke up during an earthquake that was making my bed sway. I live in SoCal, so no big deal, and chose to return to sleeping regardless of the outcome. What the fuck?
My dad once slept through a tornado, so
what?
To each their own.
Did it tear through stuff around the area?
Yeah. I told him, there's a tornado warning. The sirens are going off. The news said get to your basements. And he, woke up. He's like, he always made these fucking proclamations.
Was he just like, get to the chopper?
No, he was like, he who wants to go to the basement can go to the fucking basement. And he went to sleep. And I was like, cool. So I grabbed the dogs and I went to the basement. And the tornado eventually passed and, the weather calmed down. I went back up there and our house is still standing. And I think we only lost, a little piece of siding came off the side of it. And it was like, okay, cool, Dad. Thank you for being a dickhead about it when I was trying to let you know we were going to get hit by a tornado.
Wow. All right. I mean, I can't imagine being normal with earthquakes either. Just it happens all the time.
I lived next to a set of train tracks that were very frequently run. And I got to say, you kind of get used to your house shaking after a while. And you can kind of tell, it's I can stay still. I would imagine once you've had enough earthquakes, when it's oh yeah, this one isn't bad. It's like you put a quarter in the machine, that vibrates your bed. So you just
Sounds hot.
Yeah. Yeah. You just go to sleep with it. That's all I'm saying.
Oh God. Okay. So once when I woke up and saw the light on, I said out loud to whatever was trying to get to me.
Oh my God. I just realized I missed my joke last night. So, okay, I did a topic. You said the light thing. I'm so sorry. This is such a tangent, but I talked about how those neighbors came over and they introduced themselves, and when they left, they're like, leave your lights on at night. All they needed to live in that house was Tom Bodette, and they
God,
because he would have left the light on for them. I'm so
you made a Tom Bodette
pissed.
joke a day before that.
I would make a Tom Bodette joke every episode if I fucking could, because he'll leave the light on for you. And we're a scary podcast. It makes sense. Okay, I'll let you keep going. We're going to get through this together, people.
So once when I woke up and saw the light on, I said out loud to whatever was trying to get me to let me sleep now. Otherwise, I would be furious at them for disturbing me and in turn come after them. Another time, the light turned on and I heard something calling my name, but I just
Fuck that. That's terrifying.
It always reminds me of that one sentence horror story that we always
Two sentence horror story?
Two sentence horror story that we always bring up. The one that's just like, I heard it too, it always freaks me out. So I shot back up and said, either out loud or in my head, I don't know, quote, "That's not how you spell my name. You have the wrong person," end quote. The funny part about that is they said their name and didn't spell their name.
Right.
So it's like it's probably like
it's not how you pronounce my name type of thing. Like,
yeah,
you said it wrong, dickhead.
But it's just like you're sleepy and you're just like saying whatever, I waved them off and plopped back into bed. I don't know why or how one can hear spelling, but I did.
I love that you referenced that. That's so perfect.
So the light in the attic would come on so often that my family and I taped the pantry room switch down to not accidentally turn it on. The light stopped turning on, and so the tape came off, and for many years we had no problem with the attic light. Since the summer, I've noticed the light would be anywhere from 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. Sometimes when I see it on while heading to the restroom in the middle of the night, I would come out of my room and it'll be off. I go back to my room and I close my door. This happens a lot now. Fuck that.
That's terrifying.
Just unscrew the light bulb.
Yeah, there you go. Fuck you. You don't get to play with the light. How about that? And then if the light comes on, you know that they can fix lights. And it's like, hey, why don't you fix the other lights in the house and pay some fucking rent?
Oh my God. Almost as if whatever is in the attic doesn't want to get caught or is trying to be polite. I'd like to think that it might be because I'm half awake in the night that my eyes are playing tricks on me, but it happens so often that I'm not so sure. But maybe it's a raccoon. We've recently had one hanging around our house, or a person in the walls, or automatic timers. Those are all bad things. Raccoons, people living in the walls, On a happier note, I'd like to think it's my grandpa reading some of his books.
Oh, that's really cute.
That is really cute. Reading some of his books that he loves so much while watching over us as we sleep. So tonight, I could not sleep well because I was cold. Therefore, I walked out of my room into the hallway to turn on the heater for 10 minutes or so, and the light was on again. I went back to my room quickly and waited for the heater to turn on, but nothing came. After 2 minutes of waiting, I went back into the hallway to make sure I clicked the thermostat to the right side towards heat and not cool, and looked up, and the light was off. So now I am officially spooked. A light was on in the living room, so I peeked my head over and saw my mom sitting on the couch, about to read for a bit because she was having trouble sleeping too. Whenever multiple people in a house can't sleep, kind of freaks me out. Is that weird? Because it's like, why is everybody awake? Why? What is keeping everyone awake?
I remember there was one time where I couldn't sleep and my brother was still awake, and then I realized my parents couldn't sleep, and we were all just awake, and it was like 1 a.m. We're like, White Castle? And we totally went and got a fucking crave case. It was awesome.
I just remember, I remember when everybody couldn't sleep because the air conditioning went out.
You slept?
I slept.
Like a crazy person.
I fucking slept.
96 degrees in the upstairs of this house in the middle of August in Las Vegas, Nevada. I came upstairs and she was wrapped in a blanket and she looked at me and she goes, "When did they fix the air conditioning? It's so cold." And that's when I realized she is a demon from hell. And this place must be so cold to her at all times. It is insanity.
It's freezing. It's always cold. I told her again, okay, so mom, reading, living room, still awake. I told her again about how the light was on, and we talked about how it might be time to ask the priest to bless the house, or a white sage cleansing. But of course, I'll have my dad check, not me of course, thanks Dad, to see if anyone left a loose light with an automatic timer on up there first.
That is smart.
That is smart. Check all your bases, make sure it's not a raccoon, person living in the walls, or any of that stuff.
Sometimes it can be your switch too. Like I had a switch at my old apartment where if it wasn't like smacked all the way down because it was on a dimmer switch, that it would randomly, like the circuit would connect at various times because it wasn't completely closed. So the light would just randomly pop on. And it was definitely creepy, but I realized like if I just pushed the switch all the way down as hard as I could, it never came on. So that's also something it could be.
Anyway, that's the story. I hope it wasn't too long, and thank you to Adam's mom for spell checking my email. I have more stories that I may send when I find the time about my time at my old house and some stories from my family. Please send those to us.
Yeah,
we would love to hear it.
Anyone who has a story, we want to hear
Yes.
it. We're starting to get caught up. Send those emails.
Storytime
folks.
at Scaryish.com. We want to keep doing Storytime episodes, and they're all made because you folks help us out with that. So
Yeah.
Thanks so much for taking the time to read and share. I so appreciate you three and your hard work, banter, mush, and all. Keep up the awesome work you do, and please seriously consider those Scaryish nightlights. Thanks again. Much love, Jade. Thank you so much for sending that email to us. It was really good.
Yeah, indeed. I have had multiple experiences with lights coming on and going off, and I will say that for me, it is pretty scary because it's a trigger for me.
Jesus.
In my dream, it says, Emanon is redeemed. Ask a question. It says, boom, I interrupted. You did indeed. I thought it worked out pretty well. But yeah, that's one of the things, I've mentioned it before, where I realize that I'm having a nightmare, is I'll enter into a room or a hallway, and there will be a light switch, and when I try and turn it on, the light will not come on. And if that happens to me when I'm awake, I literally pinch myself. So I'm like, is this a dream? Did I fall asleep somewhere and I'm sleeping right now? And I'll pinch myself, and when I realize it hurts, I'm like, no. A breaker's probably been thrown. Damn it, I gotta fix this now. So 100% totally understand how freaky that can be. So thank you to everyone who sent us a story this evening. I guess it's not evening depending on when you're listening to it, but for us it's evening. For Storytime. It's amazing to get these homegrown horrors from you wonderful folks. And if you have a story you would like to share with us, please email storytime@scaryish.com. You can also go to our website, Scaryish.com. My hair's a fucking mess and Robin's trying to fix it for me right now. But you can go to Scaryish.com and click on Contact Us. Fill out that form. It comes directly to us. A lot of you folks do that. It works perfectly, and we appreciate you for it. You can hit us up on any of our social medias. We have Facebook, which is facebook.com/Scaryish Podcast. Message us there. You can tweet at us or message us directly on Twitter @ScarishPod, or message us on Instagram, which a lot of folks do as well. That is @Scaryish Podcast. And yeah, we love it when we get to read your stories, so make sure you send them. If you've been saving a story, send it. Now is the time. If you have a friend that's holding on to a story, strangle them until they write it to us. Don't actually cause any physical violence, but just tell them we would really like to hear it, and we would really like to read it on the show, and then they can listen to us read their story, which is actually
it's really exciting.
Exciting.
Yeah, we just want to hope everybody has a great Valentine's Day, and that you guys have great times. Great times. Thank you for joining us for this episode
Indeed.
of Storytime.
Thank you all so very much. For folks who would like to donate to us monetarily, Robin, how can they do so?
You guys can go to patreon.com/Scaryish Podcast. Those are monthly donations, and we have a whole bunch of different tiers, range from $1 and up. Those are where you can get ad-free episodes, things like that. Yeah, so those are monthly donations. Take a look at it. There's discount codes on there for our Etsy shop. Periodically, I'll put stuff up for the Teespring, stuff like that. You can also go to ko-fi.com/Scaryish Podcast, and those are one-time donations. All those donations help us upgrade our studio setup. There are links to all of these things on our website. Check out our website. I just posted a new thing on there, I'm pretty sure. So go take a look.
Indeed. Thank you so much for all the support you folks have given us over the years. It's been amazing to read your stories, and we want to keep doing it, so keep sending them our way. I think that's just about everything we have for Storytime number 105. So, Robin, go ahead and sign us out.
Keep on creeping on, and we'll talk to you guys later.
Bye-bye.